The mood around Ibrox is beginning to shift, and one of the names at the center of that transformation is Tel Argard. The young Norwegian arrived in Glasgow under a fair amount of curiosity, and while many fans were eager to see what he could bring to the team, few expected him to settle in quite so quickly. After a difficult preseason marred by injury, some feared that his start might be delayed indefinitely. But now, not only is he fit and firing, he's quickly turning into one of the most talked-about names in the Rangers dressing room. And the best part? It feels like he's only just getting started. Argard's early displays have already caught the eye, with flashes of creativity, composure on the ball, and the kind of energy that has been sorely missed in Rangers midfield for some time. He might still be adjusting to the rhythm of Scottish football, but his performance in the Premier Sports Cup quarter-final win over Hibernian offered the clearest glimpse yet of what he's capable of. Calm under pressure, always scanning for space, and never afraid to take risks in the final third. This is the kind of midfielder Rangers fans have been crying out for, and it couldn't come at a better time. It's not just what Argard's doing with the ball that's turning heads either. The mental side of his game is clearly mature beyond his years. Having already starred for Norway with an astonishing 4-goal performance in their demolition of Moldova earlier in the month, his confidence has grown in leaps and bounds. His father, Jonathan Argard, recently shared how frustrating it was for the family when Tel picked up that untimely knock just before the season kicked off, especially when he was primed and ready to make his debut against Panathinaikos. But that delay now seems like a distant memory. With every passing match, the number 10 shirt is starting to feel like it's truly his. In a team that's been searching for balance, his emergence is starting to answer a few lingering questions. Lyle Cameron may have impressed in spells since his arrival from Dundee, but Argard's influence in that central playmaker role is becoming more and more evident. In just a handful of appearances, he's managed to inject a spark into the side, linking up well with the forwards, demanding the ball, and lifting the tempo when the team needs it most. That kind of presence is invaluable, especially in a squad that has lacked a consistent creative engine since the days of prime Stephen Davis. But Tel Argard isn't the only new face trying to carve out a name for himself at Ibrox. Youssef Chermatai is another who's determined to prove he belongs. After a stop-start spell at Everton where opportunities were scarce and injuries got in the way, the Portuguese striker is now settling into life in Glasgow. His move on deadline day cost the club around £8 million, and while that's no small fee, the belief is that if he can find his form, the return could be immense. So far, Chermatai has mostly featured from the bench, with Bojan Majovski taking the lead role up top under Russell Martin's preferred 4-3-3 setup. But Chermatai isn't here to just make up the numbers. He's been vocal about his desire to play, to prove himself, and most importantly, to score goals. Speaking in the club's official matchday program, the 21-year-old revealed how surprised he's been by the warmth and welcome he's received in Glasgow. From the players to the fans, everyone has made him feel at home, and that, he says, has made a huge difference in his mindset and motivation. His decision to join Rangers wasn't made lightly, but once the conversations with Kevin Thel and Russell Martin took place, he says there was no hesitation. What really sold him was the belief both men showed in him, something he didn't always feel at his previous clubs. Back at Sporting, he was still finding his feet, still a little shy, but now, he says, he feels ready to fight for his place, ready to deal with the pressure, and ready to contribute. The challenge, of course, is translating that hunger into consistent performances on the pitch. For Chermatai, the past 2 years have been a learning experience. The lack of game time at Everton, coupled with an injury that kept him sidelined for a large part of last season, could have derailed his progress entirely. But instead, he insists it made him stronger. Living alone in a new country, struggling with the language, and trying to break into the first team of a Premier League club was never going to be easy. But now, with those lessons behind him and a fresh start at Ibrox, he believes he's better prepared to face whatever comes his way. Interestingly, he also spoke about the cultural similarities between Scotland and England, noting that his adaptation this time around has been smoother than his move to Merseyside. The fact that he's no longer intimidated by the language barrier means he can connect with teammates, understand instructions, and focus fully on his football. That may seem like a small thing, but in the world of elite sport, those details often make the difference. Back to Argard. And what's perhaps most exciting for Rangers fans is that we're still seeing him at the beginning of his development. The club took a risk in spending £3.5 million to bring him in from Luton Town, but already that fee looks like a bargain. In a short space of time, he started to change the way Rangers play. His movement off the ball, his ability to drift between the lines, and his understanding with the other midfielders is bringing a new dimension to the team. And with the likes of Nicholas Raskin and Mohamed Diomande also finding their rhythm, there's real potential for this midfield trio to become the spine of something special. Speaking of Raskin, his return to the starting lineup in that same win over Hibs didn't go unnoticed. Not only did he find the net, but he also looked comfortable operating in a deeper role, a tactical tweak that Russell Martin has been reluctant to try before. That positional shift could be the key to unlocking Diomande's best form as well, given that both players have struggled with form and consistency earlier in the season. But if the three of them can click, it could signal the end of Rangers' midfield woes, a problem that's haunted the side ever since their title-winning campaign under Steven Gerrard. Of course, none of this erases the reality that Rangers' start to the league campaign has been nothing short of disastrous. It's their worst opening to a league season since 1978, and pressure has been mounting on Russell Martin from all sides. Yet, amidst the noise, signs of progress are beginning to appear. The team is finally starting to show structure, the new signings are settling, and for the first time in weeks, there's genuine reason for optimism among the fanbase. Tellargard may have missed the start of the season, but the way he's playing now suggests that he could very well be the missing piece the team has been looking for. His intelligence, technique, and drive are starting to shine through, and it's no surprise that his performances have already begun to win over the Ibrox faithful. His father described the stadium's atmosphere as the most incredible he's ever witnessed, and if Argard continues on this trajectory, he might just become one of the main reasons that roar grows louder with each passing week. As for Chermatai, time will tell how his story unfolds, but what's clear is that he's hungry. He knows this is a big opportunity, perhaps the most important chapter of his career so far, and he's desperate to make it count. Whether he gets his chance in the next few matches remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, he's not here to sit quietly on the sidelines. He wants to score goals, he wants to wear the shirt with pride, and he wants to make up for the lost time at Everton. This evolving narrative at Ibrox is exactly what makes football so captivating. A few months ago, Rangers were in chaos. Now, with players like Argard and Chermatai starting to come into their own, there's a fresh energy bubbling under the surface. The building blocks are there. What happens next will depend on whether this squad can turn individual talent into collective success, and fast. While Tellargard and Youssef Chermatai are giving Rangers fans reasons to believe in a brighter future, not every gamble the club has taken in the transfer market is paying off just yet. The case of Mikey Moore is one that's sparking real debate among the support and in the media. At just 18 years old, Moore arrived with a reputation as one of Tottenham's most exciting young prospects, fresh off a season where he made 19 appearances and even picked up a Europa League winner's medal. On paper, it looked like a coup. But football isn't played on paper, and the reality has been far more complicated. Rangers took a bold approach by bringing Moore in on loan, clearly hoping he could provide a spark in the final third, but so far, he's struggled to make a meaningful impact. The decision to rely on a player so young, still developing physically and mentally, to help fix a misfiring attack has drawn sharp criticism. Pundits have been quick to question the club's thinking, arguing that too much pressure has been put on the shoulders of a teenager who's still trying to figure out his own game. The comparison has even been made that, instead of spending big money on a loan fee for a player they would ultimately be developing for another club, Rangers could have secured a more established name, someone ready to contribute from day one. What's clear is that Moore hasn't looked entirely comfortable out on the right flank. He's naturally a left-footed player who prefers operating on the left, cutting inside to create chances or take shots himself. But with Rangers overloaded with similar profiles, he's been asked to operate on the opposite side, a role that's not only unfamiliar, but one that limits his strengths. In a team that's already lacking rhythm and cohesion, throwing a young winger into a makeshift position has only added to the inconsistency in the final third. None of this is to say that Mikey Moore doesn't have talent. Far from it. His raw ability is obvious in flashes, The way he glides past defenders, the confidence he has on the ball, the natural flair that made him such a standout in Tottenham's academy. But flashes aren't enough when the team is desperate for end product. And with Russell Martin already under intense scrutiny for a lackluster start to the season, there's little room for patience when it comes to experimental lineups or long-term projects. The bigger issue here, though, might be strategic. Rangers are in a moment where every decision matters. Every signing, every tactical tweak, every bit of communication between players and staff. For a club trying to claw its way back to the top domestically and make a dent in Europe, there's little margin for error. That's why the move for more, while exciting on the surface, has left some supporters scratching their heads. It's not just about the player. It's about the timing, the expectations, and whether the environment is right for a youngster to truly thrive. And all of this is happening against a backdrop of increasing pressure. Russell Martin's start as manager has been anything but smooth. A string of poor results has left Rangers languishing well behind their rivals, and although there have been signs of improvement, the fanbase isn't in the mood for excuses. They want results, and they want them now. That puts additional weight on every player in the squad, especially new signings who were brought in to make a difference. It's also worth noting that squad balance remains a concern. The right wing, in particular, continues to be a problem area. With most of the creative wide players favoring the left or drifting centrally, Rangers often look lopsided in attack, relying too heavily on individual brilliance rather than structured, cohesive patterns of play. This is where the absence of a natural right-sided winger, someone comfortable and dangerous in that space, becomes glaringly obvious. Moore might grow into that role eventually, but right now, it feels like a mismatch. On the flip side, not all the recent arrivals have struggled. JD Gazimar, for example, has already shown that he's capable of making an impact. Comfortable on the left, direct in his running, and always looking to take defenders on, he's been one of the few consistent bright spots during a turbulent start to the campaign. His performances have underlined the difference that comes with signing a player who's already accustomed to first-team football, someone who can handle the intensity and demands of playing at a club like Rangers from day one. This contrast only reinforces the point that while potential is valuable, so is readiness. Rangers have long been caught between trying to build for the future and the immediate need to compete for trophies. It's a delicate balance, and one that requires clear planning and ruthless execution. In Moore's case, it's not that the signing was wrong, but the role he's been given and the context he's been thrown into may not be doing him any favors. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The whispers started as little more than chatter in the corridors of Scottish football, but by the end of the weekend the story had grown arms and legs. Russell Martin, the Southampton manager with deep roots in the Scottish game, is said to have lost his composure in a heated exchange involving a Rangers player. And now, the rumor mill claims he has demanded the lad's immediate departure from Ibrox. No one seems entirely certain when or where the clash took place, but those close to the situation insist Martin's frustration boiled over in a way rarely seen from the usually composed gaffer. The suggestion is that Martin, who has long been admired for his calmness and modern approach, felt let down by an attitude he considered unprofessional. What began as firm words, according to the grapevine, descended into raised voices and an ultimatum that left those present in shock. He either goes now, or I walk away from this conversation entirely. It is, of course, only speculation at this stage. The Rangers board has offered no statement, and Southampton remain equally tight-lipped. Still, the timing raises eyebrows. Rangers have struggled for consistency in recent weeks, and rumors of unrest in the dressing room are never far from the headlines. To have Martin's name linked in such a combustible context only adds fuel to the fire. Supporters are split. Some see it as a storm in a teacup, typical of the febrile nature of the Glasgow football scene. Others believe there's more to it, pointing to Martin's no-nonsense character during his playing days at Norwich and MK Dons, and suggesting he would not have taken such a stance without serious provocation. Until the smoke clears, one thing remains certain. The Scottish game thrives on rumor, and this tale of a manager losing his cool over a Rangers player has all the makings of a saga. Whether it proves to be truth, exaggeration, or pure invention, the story will linger in the pubs and terraces for weeks to come. Another chapter in the endless theater of football north of the border. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.